symbol or a seed of ever living things. But it happened in the last war. People went crazy, called it Koyaniskatsi. Everything went haywire. Everybody don't care. They dance and gamble, and they just use the power against each other. They just have a good time. No one stopped them. And so then at the last stages, they start taking all the male and seed of female and male together and mixing them up and making better flowers, apples, pears, and pretty soon they're going to make babies like that. And they're doing that now, test tube thing. That means that we're getting close to last stages. They shouldn't do that. They said they can succeed in making babies, but those babies, when they grow up, they're going to be hard to handle. They're going to be terrible. They're just going to do anything that is not right if we can handle them. So don't go that far or stop that somewhere. Then if you have power to get to the moon, don't go up there. If some of you ever get to that moon, don't bring anything down from that moon to Earth, because you already unbalanced so much nature here. If you bring something from, an even small thing from the moon to Earth, you will have more tidal wave, more earthquake, more mountain blowing their tops, that's volcanic eruption, more sicknesses you can't cure for a long time, and droughts, very strong wind, and severe winters. All these things we're told that will happen if we do that kind of thing. That junior black and children said white people want to go up to heaven all the time, then they go up there real fast. But there's no place for the human being to be up there. It's out here. We messed this up. We better start cleaning up our mess. This is the time.
Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Thursday, December 5th, 2024. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. That's the mantra. Thank you for joining us on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Thank you for being in the live chat. Already discussions going on. It's wonderful to see you guys. And let's dive into it, my friends. I've been asked many times over the last weeks because, you know, these prophecy, not just Hopi, but often Hopi prophecy videos and social media posts, they appear in waves. And we can talk all about that too. It has significance when and why they appear a little later in the show today. But we have shared throughout the years many stories about the Native Americans, many, or actually I've never met one that calls themselves Native American. They actually refer to themselves as Indians or whichever clan they're from. But at any rate, we've shared a lot about that. We've shared a lot about the teachings, spoken a lot about it. Lately, one specific prophecy or a piece of a prophecy has been making the rounds on social media. And it is about the man in the red hat, the people maybe in the red hat, and the significance of that with regard to the prophecy and our times that we're living in. And a lot of people have, of course, suggested, because the most prominent man wearing a red hat has been Donald Trump. Now, not the only one, right? Not the only one who is very famous in wearing a red hat, but for sure, the most significant figure of our time doing that. So the question is, could that be the man? And are we living in those times that are preceding purification? So I wanted to initially sort of break down the prophecy with you and break down a very important video that was recorded in 1972. I wanted to shorten it. I wanted to make everything I possibly could to comment on it with you all. And then I decided against it. No, we're going to play the full 26-minute video. We're going to watch it together. because I think it needs to be absorbed in its entirety. And then I think we can much better maybe discuss as to what time we're living in, what moment we're in, whether Trump could be that man, what he really signifies, right? Without dogma, without any kind of political affiliation, but looking at it from a much bigger picture. So let's do this together. Let's watch this video from 1972. The speaker is Thomas Banyasia Sr., who is one of the chosen, he passed away 34 years ago, but he was one of the chosen Hopi elders who represented this knowledge and was chosen to bring it out to the people, speak to various organizations like the United Nations and many others through the decades. And he was chosen as part of this group right after World War II and the horrific mass destruction that happened, with Hiroshima and Nagasaki and many other places. Of course, it was a very, very horrific event. All right, so let's watch this together, and then let's tune in afterwards.
Great Spirit warned us not to go too far with that. We can have them, but not just let this go and go up that way. So he said when that happened, then there will be time someone invent something that we will be talking to each other through cobweb. And he shook his head and said, I don't understand what that meant. And then some young fellow told him that that's a telephone line. You look up in the sky, it looked like cobwebs up there. We're talking to each other. And pretty soon, there'll be a time we close everything in a room talking, doors and windows. But way over the mountain someplace, somewhere be hearing us talking. And I can't understand that, he said. Then again, this one fellow told him that must be radio or TV. And then these period inventions will show where we are in this life as we go along. Then he said there'll be road in the sky. And he shook his head. He said, I don't see how anybody could build a road way up in the sky where people will be traveling. But they found out that it was airplane that be having a road up there, carrying people up there. So then he said, when that is fulfilled, there can be trouble on this earth because man has gone too far going that way. They're going to start fighting one another. They're going to be quarreling. They're going to be trouble all over. Young people will not respect for the elders, or elders will just neglect their children and go all out for this and that. They're just not going to have any more respect of things around nature that's provided, because we want to have those things. And they're going to be like that, and pretty soon one of these that has been commissioned by the Great Spirit over here will rise up and kick the world real hard. A warning to us. Now you people are not following the instructions that the Great Spirit told you to follow. And this is what's going to happen. Many life and property will be destroyed there. There'll be world-shaking events take place. Then it stopped for a while. Then we go on. Then another came along, more advanced things will be invented. This time they said they're going to start messing around with the moon and stars. And they must know that someday somebody's going to get to the moon. They said that if you ever get to the moon, don't bring anything down from the earth, from the moon down to earth. Because once you do that, then you are interfering with the balance of the universe, nature, and everything going to be disrupted. And things happen on earth you cannot control anymore. Even though you have all knowledge and scientific things, you can't. When earthquakes start shaking, you're going to be helpless. When a great wind becomes destructive, you're going to be helpless. This is what's going to happen here. So, but then we want many things there because there are other things going to be developed there. We began to see many money system develop. We see the new gadgets of all kinds being developed. Then everybody wants to have a new car every year. We all work and strive and We don't care how we get it, so we fight and we struggle and we do all that, and we forget the spiritual things. We forget ourselves, how we connected to plate, the grass, trees, animals, clouds. We forget all those things, and we struggle and struggle and trying to get all this. And this is the place where someone would invent what he termed gourd full of ashes. He went like that, and it's going to be so small, but it's going to be so powerful that if anytime mankind ever allowed that to fall on the earth someplace, it is going to be so hot that it's going to boil oceans, rivers. It's going to burn everything to ashes. And he described what will happen when that ever took place. Out of it, much sickness and things will develop that man will not be able to cure some of those things. That is going to happen here, between these two. Then there will be also another world-shaking events take place, that another one stands up and says, now you people are not following the instruction, you're going too far away, start destroying things. So they warn us again, and this time, this third one's coming up with much greater. This time there'll be someone's going to start farther away messing around with moon and stars, and the last thing he will invent would be a huge house that will be floating way up in the sky someplace, carrying people and things. When that is fulfilled, this old man said, then you better start learning how to live on this earth, how to survive, because the earthquake might hit certain areas very strong someday and knock everything down. Or there may be a severe famine come along, or be a flood or storm, lightning. Everything starts hitting us very strongly because nature is going to be acting very strongly here. So this is where he said we're in there, because by that time one of our own native people will join the others and tell their own people, forget your language, forget your ways, forget your songs, you come and follow us. Look, we got money, we got all this material gain, all these things, and new TV, new cars, new this and that. So just forget about it, come this way. And they will also try to influence many of our own people to go that way. But then they will advance in scientific things, inventions, but they're going to destroy themselves with what they invented if they're not careful. So now we're right in this spirit, they said. We are either go all out for this kind of thing, destroy ourselves, or come back, search our spiritual instructions, search ourselves within us, something that should link us together. Because now we know that we are all alive, we are all linked together. Talk about God, talk about Great Spirit, but no one really see Him yet. But we know there's something that keeps us alive. And that's why we call it Great Spirit, the Spirit within us, linked together with you and grass and animal, birds, everything. It's this air that we're all breathing right now. We're all linked together with that. So we are alive. We are living with this grass, animal, birds, everything. We are all together because we are breathing this. Now, if we pollute this air too much, then we're also destroying ourselves with what we invented. Because they said we may come to that at this period when the sun will rise is blood red someday, sets blood red someday, and I've seen that. It's already polluted so much in the east and west coast that when the sun comes out, you're going to see it real bright red coming out, sun, blood red. So this is what they said. The second one will shake us up real hard. Now we are coming to this last one. What we say is a purification of this continent here, because this is where the Hopi say that within this spiritual center, which would cover all this four-corner state area, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. For some reason, I don't know whether the United States government knows this or not, but they make that states come together in that very area where we refer to as a sacred area. Now we have that drawing on a shield, the Kachina, whichever picked that up, they were to protect that area with every way they can, because that is the very heart of our Mother Earth. the spirit of our people, planted in there, and we must not disturb it in any way. We can go all around it, but if we go too far in this, then we destroy a lot of things in ourselves also. So this is the time where we're facing, according to Hopi, that we are now coming. A lot of us are going up to a material path. We just forgetting the spiritual thing. We disturb nature so much. They're fighting and warring and they're quarreling, and people with the same language, and they were testing out a lot of things in our own way, because we got so smart, intelligent now that we're going to be start making people ourselves. Now found in record there are some people now trying to make people in test tubes, and they're eating pills now. I think that we're going to better ourselves. All those things are going to take place at this time. It's known to the Hopi. And then also the life would be down to a level that was just before the other destruction came. There'll be restlessness all over. There'll be people here and there running here and there, because we can get to here and there real fast now. And we just won't sit still anymore. We want to jump, we want to do a lot of things, unnecessary things, because we have all these things in our hand now. Then we're going to have power in our hand that eventually, if we misuse it or do it in a wrong manner or accidentally let go of it, then everything will go down or destroyed, because this is what it meant. So we are looking for the spiritual people in these 4 areas. In the last 15, 20 years, we find few elders still holding on, different native people. Their sacred sun dances are reviving now, and ghost dances are reviving. And their sacred ceremonies in longhouses in New York, Six Nations Iroquois Confederacy, are developing again, reviving. And those in the West Coast are developing. All over this continent, native people are now coming together to hold on to this, because that is our instruction. Now our white brothers has come and is about to lead us into that way. So we are now coming back to our white brothers with this message, with this knowledge, because we are facing this last day of purification day. Now I found it able to go on in this land, and this is what happened. And so we know that something has gone wrong, so that all across the land our people are start destroying our native people's land and life and religion. Now that's coming to this period which prophesied it would be the last place. Whether the white brother realize it someday and start correcting and stopping and changing something, because sooner or later purifier is going to come and bring about full cleansing of this earth. Because if you can't do it, even you talk about religious, good moral principles, good government or principles, yet you can't stop these things, then these purifiers will have to do it with power and might, because Great Spirit gives them all the power to develop. Now, then whoever comes out, he will meet the Great Spirit again, because here it I found in Bible and other said that I'm the first here. I have taken care of this land. I let you take care of it. I give instruction. I go away for a while. I let you go on your way. Now, if some of you may follow it, some of you may turn away, but after this purification, whoever comes out, then I'll come and meet him again. And this time, this will be a long life again, renewing everything. All living people, no matter what race, will come together as one people, like it was to start from. There will be no more fighting over religion or land will be open, so that you will live out there without money system. You will not be required to pay taxes. You cannot grab everything by somebody. Like now, you have certain area for yourself, and to let everybody stay away. We deny one another everything, and we be like fruit trees out there, produce things, because each one of us has a gift to give freely. Now, after this purification, if I invent something, you can take it and use it. And if you invent something, I can take it. I don't have to struggle to pay and pay to get it. It'll be free. So that's the way it's going to be from there on. And they may even speak one language again. But whose language is a question there. Is that because after the Great Spirit is with us, there'll be a new life laid out by the purifiers will cleanse this land. And whoever stood fast to this, even there may be one person remain up to this point, to that person's faith and courage, or those that come to help him to keep it, that many people will be saved to come out and meet the Great Spirit. So this Great Spirit, purifier, and the one who's kept the faith will lay out a new plan for all the rest of the people that survive. From there on, there'll be a peace, real peace from there on. So after many years of knowledge along this line, about 6 or 7 years later after they told me about these things, I was wondering about who are those people that's going to purify this land? How are they going to do it? So they explained to me, we have a gourd rattle that we still use in our ceremony. And that gourd rattle represents the world. On one side, this figure is on the drawing. And another one is on this side. There'll be a gourd rattle. We still use them. The one old man told me, take a look. Whoever has this symbol in this world going to shake us up 2 times. And it just came to me quickly. And I wondered, what nation have shown something similar to this one? Because they will be very intelligent people. They're going to produce many inventions of all time. They're going to be so powerful that they're going to use that to shake us up real hard. And they're going to almost destroy themselves. But later out of it, a new generation is going to rise. This time they will know what to do in the right manner, for the right purpose. Then around it, there's a sun symbol. Those people are very intelligent people that have that symbol. They have produced many things, invent many things. And they become powerful. And they also shake us up 2 times. Second time, with the help of another. These 2 have shook us up 2 times real hard, warning us. And they almost destroy themselves. But out of it, a new generation is coming, stronger, much better equipment, everything, powerful things going to be developed by these 2 people. Then the third one that will finally bring about purification of this land in this continent would be a man with red cap, red hat, or red cloak. Now we do not know who that nation is or what people, but they say those people will have a large population, and they will also have much scientific inventions of all types. Very powerful nation going to be. So once he start moving, these others 2 will join him with all their power and might. The 3 of them going to come here quickly together, and nothing can stop them. This time they're going to come right here. They say even they're going to come here so fast they come here for breakfast. Now this is nice clear day today, calm, everything nice. Tomorrow morning maybe we get up at breakfast time, then the whole sky will be darkened. Old man said, I don't know what will cause the darkening of the sky. Then he said the people will be raining from the sky. And in one day they're going to get control of this whole continent. And they're going to cut us up into 4 sections. And they're going to look for a leader that still remains, a native leader, still remaining to the spiritual path. And to him they will gather people here to him. And they will say, now these people, I gave them the religion and the duty to produce things, to invent things, and to become powerful people. When they came here, what have they been doing to you? Now, suppose he was the last chief still remaining in this area. They will ask him, and they will say, well, those people have destroyed my people. They have taken care of and taken everything from my people, land, rivers, and hunting rights, and everything that I used. They just took it away from me against my opposition. Then those that have done that, what we call purification, would be the real wicked people. People who have taken advantage of them in that matter. These figures had no heads on them. That will be their supreme punishment. Because right in daylight, right in public, they're going to weed out those bad people and they're going to chop their heads off, they said. And that is what they said will happen. That's first punishment. Then they say, what about these people here? And he will look at them and said, well, at least they make an attempt to help us. They did try to do something to help us, protect us. And they will pull out all those people. They will know you can't get away. They said they'll have some means of catching you. And they will bring those people. There'll be a lot of those people. Then they will say, look, you have disturbed this land, life, these people. You have polluted their rivers and land and everything. Now you go and clean it up. And whoever survives out of that will be able to stay with the leader here. Then they say, what about these people? These people have really suffered, been persecuted and laughed at. They've been punished and they've been beat up also because they really stood by me. And they will pull out those people and they will be brought to him and they will be respected. That is what they said will happen at this period by the people that has this symbol and man with red cap and red coat. They will come from east direction, from where the sun rises. And they will come here quickly. And they will have something to paralyze all man-made machinery. Everything come to a standstill. All power will go out. All man-made machine will come to a standstill. And we will be helpless. And they just come and take it over. And this is what they will happen to by those people that are coming from the east direction. Now, if those people are commissioned by the Great Spirit to do that for the Great Spirit, if we can't clean it ourselves here, and if they fail, then the Great Spirit said there are another people coming from west direction. They'll be coming here for a long time. They're just taking this time slowly. They're coming and building up more power, more people, more invention, and all that, and they just kept coming. If these people doesn't come here to purify this for the Great Spirit, then this one will come. And they said, when that happens, don't get them on the housetop and watch, because those people are coming from the west direction. There'll be millions of people coming up on the west coast, like ants crawling up on the land. And they will have no mercy for anyone. They'll be very cruel and severe. They're not going to ask questions. They're just going to whip everything as they come. They're going looking for someone that will hold on to this spiritual path here. They're going to do that. This is what they said is going to happen. But these two purifiers on both sides are coming to this continent here where we started from, and we came back. We just about to destroy ourselves, mess it up. We can't straighten ourselves up. Then these purifiers will have to do it. This is what they said will happen here. So whoever comes out, then we will meet the Great Spirit. But if not, if no one listens, then these elders, religious men, will go down into the kiva, go through a ceremony. Then they go over a prayer to four corners of this earth, to the above and to the below, and said, all right, none of these, my children, my people have listened to me or helped me. Now you take over. That's when the cloud will rise like this. Lightning will strike 2 or 3 times all over this land. Like the old people said, if you have light power line in your house now, that power is going to run in and just blow up everything in there. And everything is going to happen when that lightning strikes. And so that's why some of these traditional people don't want power line into their village yet. They don't want to put it in their homes. And then they also don't want running water inside of the house, because that's going to be so polluted one of these days. And that's going to be affected in some way when white man or whoever has the power, like the goat full of ashes, which you now would interpret to be hydrogen bomb or atom bomb or whatever bomb they have now invented, so powerful that once that hit someplace, it's going to pollute everything. So these are the things that I explain clearly, and I can't really go into all that detail, but it brings up to date what we're facing today. I've seen many things happening along this line now that it's being fulfilled. So they told us, go as far as you can to explain some of these to as many people, because there is still a faith by our elders that someday our white brother somewhere or somebody's going to realize it or hear it and understand it, and they're going to search and they're going to find out this is true. They're going to start going around to try and correct this before the purifiers come. So that is why whatever happening in our area, we don't want industries in there yet, because once that happens, those that's going to throw those gourd full of ashes into this continent, it might hit all around us, but it's going to hit those places where are developing those kind of things. And it also say that we must not disturb the spiritual center, just leave it alone, so that if anything happens outside of it, if some of you people survive, at least you can come to this area called a refuge for all mankind who survive those periods, that this will not be disturbed, so that there'll be a chance for some of you people to come and leave there or to start from there again. So this is what all people's instructions were, and the prophecy and the warnings, and what they say. A lot of things I don't at that time don't believe, but many things have been fulfilled, and I know there's old people, 80 or 90, 100-year-old men, religious men, are talking these things, and it's in parallel to some of the world religious writers, and so I know they're telling the truth. So this to the Hopi is a male, representing male, and this was representing female. These two are the main sources of life that we must not disturb. We may start interfere with it one of these days. Once we do that, then our life is down to a point where it will be lost forever. So we were not to do that. So these are some of the things that's knowledge contained in the presentation that's given in 1948 in Changopa village. So I believe this is about all I would give you on this knowledge here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we did it this way. I'm glad we watched this together. I think it's frankly, you can't summarize this. You can't just sit here and say, well, this is what the guy said and this is what I think it means. As a matter of fact, I really don't want to interpret too much because it's been all said very clearly. I think he had pure clarity in his voice, and you could see the images if you paid attention. If you tuned in, you could see the images that he created with that presentation, if you will. Oddly enough, if you were to put it in a modern setting, the same exact words in a modern setting, it would apply even to today, 2024. And this was 1972. Thomas Banyasia, one of the Hopi elders of the time, he passed away in 1990. The question was whether the man in a red hat or this movement is what we're experiencing now with Trump as the leader. My own perception was no. I didn't hear that, especially not when I listened again with you all and watched right now. I don't think so, but that doesn't mean that this is not a extremely significant moment. I mean, like I've said before, like I've said yesterday, Trump's arrival on the scene, has incredible significance for the entire world. The shifts that have happened since his arrival, the upheaval, the chaos, which is really, if people think that, it's his fault that the chaos is happening, that is so short-sighted. It's, he, as a disruptor, has, you know, simply uncovered, or let's just say he said, let's lift the veil here. Let's look at what's there. Not saying the man's not playing for a certain team and there's not a certain agenda. There most certainly is. But we have to look at all these things from a much bigger perspective, especially when we think about these prophecies. As humans, we run one danger, is that the first thing that we do is that we judge something, good, bad, you know, this side, that side. And that doesn't allow us to perceive the information that we're presented with, because we already put it through a certain filter. And once we put something through a filter, our own bias prevents us from seeing the full picture. So if we were to look at the world situation today, the wars, the political figures in the front, the power wannabe elites in the back, the unseen, if we look at all of that from a non-dogmatic standpoint, you can't come to any other conclusion but that we're living in an age of maximum madness. The things that we do as a human family, as a collective, the decisions that we make absolutely no sense whatsoever. They are destructive in the short term, and they're deadly in the mid and long term. So what all these prophecies, and here's the interesting thing: you listen to a German farmer, a very simple man who gave us a lot of sort of prophecies for the 20th century and beyond, Illmeyer. Or you look at Baba Vanga, and you could go on how that's being interpreted. You look at the Hopi prophecies and other Indian or Native American prophecies. You look at some Christian prophecies. You look at some Jewish prophecies, and you will find that if you look deep enough, the pattern pretty much is always the same. What is being said is that we are at the height of wickedness, if you will. That we've lost our way, that we've forgotten who we are, that we treat each other horribly, and that we treat this construct that we live in horribly, and that we are going to pay the price if we don't change it. And there is an entire group in this world today, in this construct, that is playing a whole different game. They are actually using those prophecies and scripture and using it as a script to play it out in our reality. And people think whenever something happens on the world stage, then they go, well, you see, this is prophecy fulfilled. And I go, hold your horses a little bit here. Have you ever considered that these groups are actually playing it out? They're using scripture as a script, and they're playing it out to have the justification for what they want to do. You know, this is the naivete that we live with. And so why I enjoy or why I put more emphasis on prophecies like this one, or basically explanations, is because they are non-dogmatic. They're not saying this way was wrong and my way is the only way. What they're saying is we have lost our way as a species, and there are two paths, and this has been coming up everywhere. This has been coming up all over the world, and people are feeling it. Even in their own lives, they feel the two paths. They feel the one path that is leading them further away from truth, from authenticity, from freedom, from love, from humanity, from all those things. And then there's the other path that is leading them towards it. And so they're choosing, more and more people are choosing that path within. Simplify, calm down, don't let the stress of the world get to you. And recalibrating, bringing things back into order. I don't think we have much time left. I think we're in the final seconds, if you want to use it symbolically. And the thing is about that, you don't have to be a prophet. And these people, this Hopi prophecy is really, I think, misread. It's not really a prophecy. It is a recognition of cycles that have been here since eons. And this has happened before. When you go back to even deeper and longer sort of segments of these prophecies, you will find that the elders 200-300 years ago have spoken to the early settlers about what was to come, and they have described roads, paved roads. They have described electricity. They've described all these things But they said, and then the settlers thought, well, this is like a prophet. He can see the future. And some elders said, no, this is the past. The past repeats if we don't change it, because it's been here. They've seen it. So the people inhabiting this land, before the white settlers arrived, before the Europeans arrived, they had seen it before. Civilizations were built here before and went down. And when people say, well, this time it's going to be different, this time we're doing the right things, and technology is so wonderful, and AI and all that crap so wonderful, I'll say this again, all of this has been here many times. It is literally a loop, right? The wheel, the karma wheel, it's going on, and the players come back, and they have different names, and they look different nationalities, but they're the same players, and not everybody goes through the veil of forgetfulness. Some of these players and bloodlines have figured out a way to not do that, by the way. So when you go through that, then you see that never ever has a highly technological civilization survived in this construct. We find remnants. We find clearly signs that they've existed. We find, in some places, we find things that show us they were more advanced, far more than we are right now, but they're gone. They're so far gone, and they've gone so quickly that almost nobody stuck around to tell us the story. It's in the folklore. And here's another interesting thing, that if you could go to the mountains of Austria and to speak to some of the old timers, you could even go to a city in Austria where part of the city's folklore is the story as to how the lake that the city is built around, how the lake came to be. And you will hear the same stories. It was the story was that it was a wicked time, that people had lost, they were gambling, they had lost all morality, they lost all connection to the creator, they were gambling and being promiscuous and lying and stealing and cheating. And so the story was that this little guy came, this little, almost like a dwarf came with a what do they call, a barrel. He came with a barrel, and he walked into one of the pubs, if you want to call it that, where people were excessively celebrating. And he said, if you don't stop, I'm going to open this barrel and it's going to flood everything. And the people didn't stop, and he came again, and he didn't stop, and he came again. And then after a while, he opened the barrel and flooded everything. And that's how the lake came to be. And of course, this is one of the probably adjusted flood stories, right? It's just one of the destruction cycles that we've been through. Now, what probably one of the quarrels is between researchers, archaeologists, and people who study this is whether or not these cycles can actually be changed, or whether you can only prepare for them. There's a certain level in futility. I think it's sort of futile to believe that you can't change when human when consciousness in general creates, even in this construct. So to say we're pure victims, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like I've always said, but it isn't about changing the world. You have to listen to this. You cannot change or fix the world. What these people are all saying, people have to change their ways. They can't, you can't go out and try to convince everybody that they need to stop fixing things. We need to show them what changing ourselves can do. And it's so far advanced now that we don't have years, and you can't wait for another few decades. You have to do it now. We all have to do it now, and not get so invested in the outcome. We're so outcome-oriented people that we forget about the process and the journey. What if you are not the beneficiary of the great work that you do? What if you are not the one who benefits from it the most? What if we're doing something for all of consciousness? What if we're doing something for all of humanity What if we're doing something for all of expansion? So that is probably much more important and much more needed to be considered during these times. So does Trump play a role? Of course he does. This is new movement, the MAGA movement. Yes, all of this plays a role, but rather than looking at it from the perspective of good or bad, which often we all do, we might say, what can people see because of this presence? What, so much has been uncovered because of this presence. So you can fight it or say this is all bad, or you can say this is wonderful, they're the saviors. I say neither. I say, what can we learn from this? What can we see from this? What is it showing us so clearly? The good, the bad, the ugly. That's what this is about. Because we have to step out of this old game. This old game is the same thing over and over again. It's warfare, fighting against each other, religion against religion, nation against nation. It does not work. It has never worked. So if we want to reach another level of consciousness, we need to exit that game and see it from a bigger perspective. The consequence is clear if we don't. You don't need a prophet to see that. If we don't do that, if we don't stop with the bullshit that we're doing now, it's over. We're going to, one button, one choice, and we're destroying ourselves. As a matter of fact, I'm blown away as I'm researching deeper and deeper the capabilities of publicly available AI, and ChatGPT is just one of them. There's many others. The more that I'm researching, the more blown away I am as to how powerful it can become if you use the right prompts, if you instruct it in the right ways. And what have we given to unconscious people with this? Honestly, it's incredible. It's like a mass weapon. Can be used for good and for bad, but the fact that it's there, it's almost like the equivalent of free energy, if you will. It's actually, I don't think that most people grasp just what has been unleashed, right? And of course, there was a warning by AI developers last year. They called for the stop of all training. They said, let's put a halt to all AI training. Let's limit its usage, and that didn't really go through. And so we're in this phase where we see bits and pieces of wisdom and knowledge. We have some memories. Things are confusing, and sometimes we can't really hear it. And then other days, everything is becoming clear. We have to step back more often, get calm, go into a deeper state, sit and be quiet, and allow for, spirit, for creation, for consciousness to speak to you. I don't see another way, like, forward. There's a good chance, of course, that this split, that the two paths might eventually or soon become physical. In other words, maybe one path will go into a new simulation, into a new construct, like they've been saying, the metaverse construct, which they've already explained that in this metaverse, everything will exist like it does in what we perceive to be analog reality. So you'll have real estate, you'll have office space, you'll have malls, you'll have all that crap. It'll just be a augmented reality kind of deal, but it will be so real. It will look so real, and it will feel so real. And eventually we'll go beyond the VR glasses and all of that very soon. And the other people will do everything that they can to return to Prime Earth, or to experience Prime Earth and reality as it was intended to be. So just be prepared that more confusion will be out there, that we will have to work through that confusion together. Nobody has all the answers. And it's important to be able to say, I don't know. As a matter of fact, some of the most powerful periods in my life came from I don't know, but I'm willing to learn, or I'm willing to explore, or I'm open to learn, or I'm open to explore. So this is also important. And last but not least, to constantly go into our belief systems into our programs and say, you know, are these still true for me? Is this really true? Is this just something that has supported me for a while, but now it's actually not supportive any longer? Does this belief system serve only me, or does it serve everything and all of creation? We're the first generation in many times, and I'm not talking about specific age group, but just people that are alive at the same time, where probably tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, are asking themselves those questions and are transcending egotism, materialism, and all that crap to a degree where it is less important than the big questions of life. Who am I? Why am I here? What is this? You know, what is spirit? What am I? What is consciousness? What is this body? What are its limitations? All of those things. I think we're the first generation in a very long time where tens or hundreds of millions of people are actually having this inner dialogue, and we're coexisting with almost dead entities who have no inner dialogue. And this is a challenge, of course, because we're sometimes gauging humanity's level of consciousness by random people we see, and we get disappointed because there's no life in them, there's no inner dialogue, there's nothing. They're literally, there's nothing there. And if we falsely think, you know, that's sort of the gauge, and even if we think they're real people, and I've said this before, non-player characters, they do exist, they're here. Never ever would I suggest that anything should or needs to be done to them or about them. God forbid, no, of course not. I would never ever say anything that, you know, I would never encourage doing harm to anyone or anything. But just realizing when you're dealing with a constructed entity that simply doesn't have the capabilities and simply doesn't have access to the same innate qualities that you have, and that simply is a fact. There are these non-player characters. They do exist, and quite a few of them too. They serve a specific purpose in the program, in the construct, but they don't have what might be called a spark or divine spark or divinity in them. And they are confusers, right? They confuse people. Their behaviors, they're the mass behavior people. It's just the way it is. So all of these things need to be considered. Like I've said, we need to rise up to be the absolutely best possible version of ourselves that we can, and live from the highest ethical, moral, and loving perspective that we can, and beings. That, you know, that also means that you don't take shit any longer. Don't diminish yourself so someone else can feel better about their smallness, right? You know, that's anti-love, to diminish who you are, or to make yourself smaller, or to don't shine your light because somebody might feel bad about not being able to shine their light. That's not what I'm talking about. You have to be who you are. And if people get inspired and because of your beautiful light discover who they are, wonderful. If they don't, so be it. Don't attach, keep on walking. So this is the time, you know. We won't be able to bring everybody with us. Nobody, and not everybody wants to go. This is more metaphorically speaking. And more than anything, we can't fix anyone. We can't do anything for anyone. We can only assist them when they ask for it and they're ready to be assisted. So that's where we're at. And I would encourage you to maybe bookmark this show and watch this segment by Thomas Banyasia again, because I think every time, the more time that passes in the construct and you come back to it, the more clarity it might bring to your thought and feeling structure. And maybe meditate on it, you know, go to a quiet place and see what comes to you. Ultimately, consciousness directs everything. So if we can become a high conscious, coherent family, anything's possible. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being here with us. You know, we love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.
Right now, you could be only a few clicks away from experiencing something amazing, something that has changed thousands of lives all over the world. I'm talking about a high consciousness field similar to those at pilgrimage sites and sacred places. It's where people go to heal, to connect, and to become the best possible version of themselves. With FLFE, you can bring such a high consciousness field into your home right now. It's a spiritual quantum technology based on the work of Nikola Tesla. Better sleep, more energy, greater well-being, improved finances, electrosmog mitigation. These are only some of the things people on the FLFE service are experiencing. Try it now for 15 days completely free of charge, no credit card needed. Just click on a link down below to start your free, no strings attached FLFE trial right now.